And then we are in the game, guys. Let's get amongst it. In the bottom left here, the Taiwanese Protoss. He is nice, we call him here in Australia.
And over here towards the other side of the map, it is the red Terran. It's going to be ExpecT.
Fortunately, when I opened up the B stream to have a bit of a look at how ExpecT was going versus GoGo Joey, I didn't really get to see how he was playing. Even though it's a different matchup, I feel like the type of player you are can still be shown different matchups. Like if you just go balls to the wall, all in, crazy all ins, proxies, that sort of thing, against one race, chances are you're doing it against the other ones as well. It's no one has that bad of a matchup versus other matchups. And I do say that, and there's probably some pro gamers in the chat right now going, what are you talking about, Maynard? I have a 30% win rate in one matchup and like an above 60% win rate in the others, which I suppose does exist. I certainly have a win rate like that. I can't win TBT to save my life.
That's okay. I mean, if your assumptions are correct, then maybe there's still a chance that we will see Mass Oracle. But in all seriousness, I think, you know, some of the mirrors we've seen historically, some of the mirrors, you know, even some of the better players in the game can really struggle, like in those Protoss versus Protoss mirrors and things of that nature. Even if you're one of the better players, you know, it's the nature of the matchup can be a little bit random, where you have a bit of a struggle to maintain that consistent win rate just due to how random the matchup is. Sometimes you just suck against a certain style. Stylistically, you can't handle it, and you might not be able to bring that win rate up. So that's the cool thing about StarCraft, you know, as opposed to other esports, is that extra level of complexity with the race disparity and the mirror matchups and all that extra stuff. It just makes it that much harder to be a consistent pro gamer these days.
Yeah, you are correct. StarCraft 2 is the greatest esport, and I would not be surprised at all if you just gave up Counter-Strike casting completely after a few days worth of release broadcast.
I do genuinely believe that you may be correct about that, but you know, I don't know if I can necessarily give up my day job just yet.
Oh, well, you know, you got to do what you got to do, I suppose, but at least you won't be happy about it, especially after seeing all these brilliant StarCraft 1v1s. We are seeing Hellions and Reapers here. Multiple Hellions and multiple Reapers, which is definitely not normal. This is more of a TVT opener, honestly, going for multiple Reapers and Hellions. But he's going to be utilizing them against the early gateway units. These units together, it takes a lot of them to take down an Adept. As we can see, they do eventually get the job done. She shades away, though, with the SCV kill, delaying the natural expansion of ExpecT.
Yeah, not too bad, and that's definitely scouted out the investment in those units early on for Nice. He's going to hide towards the brush here, trying to do damage, and he's going to be able to pick up that Hellion without dropping that initial Adept. So pretty nice stuff so far. Haha, no pun intended. That's going to be happening a lot.
It's so hard. It happens. Like Pig and I cast Nice every week in the American stuff, like I was mentioning, the weeklies, and it's so hard to say things that aren't nice when you're casting him, because it's just too much autopilot. We are seeing a lot of pressure here from Nice. He's got multiple gateways, 3 gates. He does have a natural, but he's warping in very early right on the Terran side of the map. He's left his natural a little bit open, though. That shield battery is going to cover like the front patches of probes, but if he jumps into the main or just gets around the shield battery, you can potentially get a few probe kills here.
Yeah, the warp's still on cooldown after going for that aggression with the Stalkers up towards the main. Actually, the front door's been left wide open, so you're going to see damage for both players on both sides. The Protoss now starting to warp in the Stalkers to be able to push the Reapers and the Hellions away, but in the meanwhile, you are seeing these Stalkers just absolutely decimate the worker line. But with the Cyclone popping out, the Terran will at least not die right then and there, but that's not going to stop this gateway pressure, I would imagine. You don't invest early in those 3 gates to quit it now.
Yeah, I mean, there is a robo on the way, and Nice is probing again, so he could switch gears a little bit, but I'm with you on that. I think he definitely has enough units to continue the pressure. Like, why give it up? Like, if you can keep the Terran contained and keep finding free damage, hell yeah, keep doing it. There's a Banshee on the way here for ExpecT, but it doesn't have Cloak, so it's relatively easy for a Stalker warp in to deal with it. Adepts and Stalkers once again showing up, just like you mentioned. They are just being absolute jerks here, picking and prodding here at the Terran infrastructure.
Yeah, trying to stop the Terran from getting comfortable into that natural expansion, doing damage, but the Reapers diving into the main of the Protoss is going to apply a little bit of pressure. The thing is, the shield battery is doing a nice job of keeping those probes alive, and the Adept, like you said, quite a fearsome opponent for some of these earlier Terran units. There's another
my
shade.
God.
That front door just does not go up for the Terran ever, and more SCVs are going to die. It's a 20 worker lead for Nice, and you said that you didn't expect the same kind of a game as the last one, and this is what we're seeing.
This game is wild, man. This game is absolutely ape droppings. I'm ready to pour myself a glass of Chateau de Bonkers right now. This is, it's just not a normal PvT in any stretch of the imagination. We've just got Protoss units walking into the Terran space. We've got 3 Reapers still alive somehow. It's 2 now, just showing up in a probe line, which still has a shield battery. A cloakless Banshee somehow manages to get 4 probe kills. Not sure how that's supposed to happen with a shield battery as well, no less. I mean, yeah. A lot of gateways going down here for Nice, by the way. It looks like he's gonna just apply even more pressure, more like a chokehold.
That's what I was gonna say. After watching 2 games of Nice and characterizing myself as an expert, in the last game, he did a lot of economic damage, and then instead of just macroing up and being like happy with his day's work, he decided to just go and kill him. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a similar thing here. He's put himself at a pretty big lead, and now he's going to just add a ton of gateways, go into Zealot legs, go into the Templar archives. He's actually trying to secure that third. I'm keen to see if that's actually a legitimate attempt at a third, and he's going to continue probing. And he is actually going to put some probes in the production tab. So adding the gateways before the expansion.
Yeah, he's got 8 gateways before a third base. He does plop it down, but this might just be trying to sell the story. 8 gateways charge and a Templar archives with Storm on the way is pretty expensive for the Protoss. You see that Nice is still squeezing out probes. Looks like he can just afford it all. I guess he's just Mr. Rockefeller over here with $1 million. Able to do everything at once. Reaper finally goes down.
It's easier to like squeeze out Zealot Archon because it's a little bit cheaper. You're spending your minerals and gas when you've only got those 2 bases of income, as opposed to going for some of those more expensive teching units. We are going to see the Warp Prism into the main, so the pressure never really lets up here for Nice. He's going to do a lot of economic damage. You just see ExpecT out on the map. He's trying to go for this tank push with the Marines, but he's just copping a hell of a lot of damage before he can really start to react. I'd say only 5 workers, but he's got out of there with the Warp Prism, so the harassment's not really done. It's just halted for the time being.
Nice. I'm actually glad for Nice that he didn't warp in a bunch of charge lots in the main base of the Terran. While that would have done damage, it would have almost certainly meant that his third would be dead, because he needs some more units over here. He hasn't got a convincing amount of army to actually stop the advance of the Terran. Does have Storm, though, but the Terran pulls back, and I feel like Storm is not as convincing at this stage as Colossus is. Some Zealots coming in from the backside, though. Bit of a flank from Nice. Can ExpecT cut through this? Looks like maybe a little bit too much Protoss.
He's starting to chip away at some of those tanks. He's still got the Storms to fall back on, but taking those tanks out of the equation really takes a lot of the punch out of the push here for the Terran. The continual damage from the charge lots just pushing the Spire army back. The Templar, I think they really should have hopped on the treadmill a little bit more, because they can never really seem to catch up to the rest of the Bioforce to drop those Storms down, and that certainly would be probably the end of things if that ever happened.
In the last 20 years of the StarCraft IP, I've never seen a Templar touch the ground. They just float around, and it really feels like they could utilize their feet a bit more. I mean, look at how fast Zealots are, especially since the last couple patches. Should really take after their brothers in arms.
I reckon for sure. If they even touch the ground, they'd be speedy boys. If they're light enough to float like a feather like that, who knows really. In the meantime, though, you do see ExpecT. He's actually trying to go for a third CC rather than trying to force the issue. Obviously, that push wasn't really working for him, but at this stage, you're looking at Nice. He's fully saturated that third. He's getting quite ahead in terms of the economy game. He's continuing to apply this harassment pressure. Terran's quite far behind at this point, and he's going to try and get back into things by going for a bit of a drop in the main here while shoving towards the third.
I like the double prong, but I mean, you see a High Templar, you see a bunch of Stalkers on patrol. That's a nope right there. You don't do that. We do have a Prism coming forward here for Nice, and this one's got a mixture of High Templar and Zealots in it, so he's going to try and Storm drop the mineral line. Not something you see every day.
Yeah, we'll see if he's going to be able to hard commit in there. Actually, 2 Marines is enough to push that away. And you do still see ExpecT. He's out on the map. He still hasn't established that third base yet. Now the drop coming in, a couple of Storms. How many worker kills is getting from that? Not many, but a lot of softened up workers. And if you don't repair up those SCVs, wouldn't be surprised to see Nice dive back in with a couple of charge lots.
I like the recall there from Nice. It's sort of a nice big... I did it again. That was a good flex there on ExpecT. He's like, Prism's back home. It has Storm. Watch out. Here comes my Templar stuff.
You know what? I'm gonna open up a synonym list right now, just so I'm gonna hold this madness right now.
I know production's busy right now, but we're gonna need a thesaurus delivered to all casters before the next broadcast. There is a good chance that Nice makes it to the next stage, and we'll have to deal with this guy for a little bit longer. We truly are the victims here. We got more and more ghosts coming out with enhanced shockwave about to finish, and that's exactly what you want against Templar tech, which is the backbone of Nice's army. Good pick up on that War Prism.
You're going to start to dive in here with a handful of charge lots, but the Templar inside of the prison start. Oh, those storms on the high ground were so massive, and that's the end of the game right there. Surely there's just not enough bio to be able to stop this third base from going down. ExpecT was kind of behind right from the get-go, unfortunately. You know, when that push towards the third didn't get any damage done on the Protoss. It's not like going and taking his own third that late was really going to get him back into things, especially if he's not able to drop in the main like he was going for.
Yeah, oh man. It's like ExpecT had what he needed to win that battle, I feel, but the Prism play with the High Templar, like everything in the Prism is still safe if you EMP the Warp Prism. So you can only really get rid of the Storm energy if you have that snap, split second, like not even split second, split millisecond reaction time to kill those High Templar, or at least EMP those High Templar before the Storms kick in. And unfortunately, there was a little bit too much bad weather for the boys. They go down to that splash damage like many Terrans before them. So
yeah, that's just the third game in a row I've seen from Nice where he's killing workers like constantly from his opponent. And I mean, I've only seen 3 games from the man, but in all 3 of them, it has very much been go kill opponent's workers. And then, you know, you might macro up a little bit, but he's not looking to play a long game or anything. He's looking to cripple his opponent and then finish him off at a point where he feels comfortable and strong enough to be able to do so. So that very much is a very decisive player, it seems like, you know, getting there for the damage and then finishing him off when he's feeling like it's the right time to go for it.
We do have that push, that first push from ExpecT here is the replay. I had a little bit more hope for this push from ExpecT. It looked a little bit better for him, but a really good play from Nice to get that Prism in from the back and just flank it a bit with charge lots. If you can get charge lots on those tanks, you really can take the wind out of the sails. I mean, you even said during the cast that those tanks are kind of the backbone here. You get rid of those tanks, the bio is, you know, going to fold pretty quickly to your war pins, and then the Storms can really get in there.
Yeah, absolutely right. And, you know, after initially applying that gateway pressure, Nice, he immediately went into that sort of like Twilight Templar style. He had Storm so early. A lot of the times you see that third base push come out in like the PvT and the Terrans setting up the tanks and stuff. And I feel like a lot of those situations, the first Colossus only just popping out in time. But in a game where you go for that aggression and you take out so many of your opponent's SCVs, it's like a domino effect, sets everything further and further back and it buys space for the Protoss to have access to things that he normally wouldn't in a more normal situation.
Yeah. It does really snowball when you're at this higher level. You're going to make fewer mistakes when you're ahead. You're going to get further ahead. Nice made a lot of good decisions in that game. I mean, straight off the bat, you brought it up a little bit, but just to reiterate on it again, the start of the game, ExpecT was trying to pressure him with a handful of Reapers and Hellions, which is already a little bit weird. You don't need too many gateway units to deal with that. As long as they're there, the Reapers and Hellions will tend to lose fights against gateway units. Stalkers and Adepts will generally trade better. And then on the other side of the map, he had his front door down. Stalkers were just walking in and picking off a bunch of SCVs. ExpecT's push could have been a lot more convincing with a lot more units if he just had a little bit more mining in there. It's just funny how all this small little details all stack up into a big difference when you get a few more minutes along in the game in StarCraft 2.
It was like an open house party, just anyone walking in and gate crashing.
Grew up in the tent, yeah.
Yeah, running around, knocking things over. Unfortunate. So let's see if ExpecT's able to turn it around in this next game. I think the key is very much slowing down that initial pressure on the economy and playing a more normal game up against Nice.
Well, we'll see how that one looks. We'll get that normal game after all. In the bottom left here, the Terran player currently in the ropes of this best of 3. He is ExpecT.
And over on the other side of the map, you might describe this man as enjoyable, pleasant, pleasurable, agreeable. It is the blue Protoss. Nice. maybe even delightful. Definitely satisfying, at least in the games that I've been watching today.
I see you found that thesaurus. Have to let me
I don't
borrow
know
it.
what you're talking about. Straight off the dome, Maynard.
Straight off the top of my dome. Don't even need it. What is Google? Don't even worry about it. So Gateway Scout here from Nice. Pretty regular opening for the Protoss at the moment. Just going to have a look at the Terran, make sure that he's going for a fast expand, which it looks like ExpecT is doing. Just a single gas, no fast wall off, not doing anything wild like what Seether did against Probe in the ANZ qualifier earlier this evening.
Yeah, just trying to push your opponents. I mean, the phrase I'm trying to reach for is not really broadcast friendly, so I'm just going to kick it before it even gets started. Yeah,
My man.
You do see the Reaper being built up here by ExpecT, but like you said, it's not the factory, follow up. Okay, that's one way to do it. I mean, you can move that building. Maynard, in my day as a Protoss player, I've definitely misplaced one hex the wrong way in terms of that natural expansion and just instant F10N. I'm not even interested. I don't even want anything to do with that longer mining time. So it's a blessing to be a Terran player.
I'm actually with you on that. If I was a not Terran player and one of my one of my Nexi or hatcheries was a hex off, I would F10N. It's actually, it caused me physical pain to see those misplaced bases. But the power of the Terran is you can just lift your stuff. So that is quite a misplaced command center, though.
Everything else in the game.
Yeah. And the other thing that they should patch in the game is that the command center should crush things underneath it. I can't believe that a Zergling keeps that thing in the sky. That's just ridiculous.
I don't think you realize how much that Zergling's been hitting the gym. He can lift anything. Don't even worry about it. But Reaper does actually get cleaned up by the Adept, so nicely done. Nice is going to be... oh, man. Okay, I've even got all of them right next to each other. He's going to be trucking along very good. He's going to build up the workers.
Chucking along very good is the sentence he just chose there. Could have said well. Could have, but there it is. That's the thing with when you say stuff on the internet, you can't take it back. It's there forever now. People can clip things now. It's just right there. Oh, Dev gonna get a Marine and shade out. No. Oh wow, does get the Marine in the end.
It's actually the Phoenix opening rather than the Oracles. So going for this Phoenix style versus Terran is something that I was having a look at Probe doing earlier, and he was making good use of it.
Oh, tell me that Adept did not just survive. Unbelievable. That's a trigger warning right there for Terran players. Oh my goodness.
Two SCV kills, and he gets a Marine, and I think that was the Adept that cleaned up the Reaper earlier as well. So great day at the office for the Adept. You'll love to see it.
I mean, if you're a Protoss, I guess, yeah.
After a couple of these Phoenix, he's building up that Robo, getting those safety shield batteries. So I think he's just going for that Phoenix hit squad to be able to control the drops and pick off key units and sort of delay reinforcements while he moves through the rest of the tech tree. I'm keen to see where Nice is going to go for his third base, as he's sort of trying to control what the Terran can and can't sort of go for here, but he's missed the timing on finding this drop.
Yeah, he just missed it. It was like the most obvious Hellion drop in the whole world. He even saw the medevac and got a shot off on it. So he looked to intercept the medevac, but just missed it. These Hellions could potentially still do damage. The Adepts overextending a little bit here, honestly. A few too many more Marines. Maybe they can get a couple more SCVs. ExpecT's worker difference is pretty large. 13 workers difference. One Phoenix can get rid of the medevac, but she can't really do anything else other than lift a single unit up. Here come the rest of the Phoenixes. They really cross that map fast. The Hellions just jump into the natural where there is a shield battery. So looks like Nice is going to be completely fine.
And we've seen a lot of workers getting killed pretty early on in a lot of these games, at least the ones that I've watched tonight. So this is actually interesting to me. The workers not dying and not completely losing the game, very, very quickly, which means that we're probably going to be heading towards a more normal game than usual. We do have the Phoenix hit squad just trying to maintain that map control, trying to find out what the Terran's doing, pick off the drops, like I said, and behind that, with the information that Nice is gathering, swooping around the place, he's going to grab that third Nexus reasonably quickly. It's not super quick, but considering that he's sustained that Hellion drop, he's feeling comfortable enough to just drop that one straight away and go for the Colossus then as well.
Nice is getting further ahead here, and with the Colossus Nest finishing up, that does mean that Phoenix Colossus is going to start kicking in. Just Phoenixes on their own have a bit of utility, but they're very niche. But when you have Phoenix Colossus, it's like two of those really important roles are covered. Your anti-air is there and your anti-ground is there as well. The Colossus do need like a meat shield, which is generally where Zealots and that sort of thing will come in. But this is very similar to, I think you mentioned how like Probe likes to play his PvT series earlier today against Azure and against Seether.
Yeah, I'm interested that he's continued to pump out those Phoenix, and he even had another one queued up, which he cancelled. You know, he's got however many. He's got 7 Phoenix at the moment, so that's a little bit more than I've seen a lot of these other Terran players sort of commit to. And he's continuing to make them actually, and he's doing some pretty good work with them, continuing to pick off these units. A lot of these Marines were in that drop over there, and he's not feeling as comfortable to go for that with such a massive Phoenix hit squad out on the map.
Yeah, and all off one Stargate too. I feel like if you wanted to go really ham on Phoenix Colossus, you get a second Stargate, but you know, this isn't a Rotterdam stream. We are watching nice here. The Phoenixes just make it such an unattractive prospect to go and drop, and this observer is even giving Nice the the vision. He's like, oh, a bunch of Benevacs and Marines are moving away. That means the mineral line's only got a turret protecting it. Let's grab a few more of those SCVs and just fly away.
Yeah, so that third base very much established for Nice. It's got great saturation. He's up to that 60 workers. Continuing.
Do you kill the tank here? I think you do. Oh my god.
He's just got so much value out of his Phoenix. It's absolutely ridiculous, and he hasn't really lost any yet. I mean, the Terran now starting to move into the upgrades, but yeah, in the position that he's in, he's just going to continue until he can deal with these Phoenix. He's going to continue to lose units out on the map. He's going to have a really tough time navigating drops to be able to apply pressure to the Protoss, and he's very consistently going to continue to lose workers. So I feel like there's a real problem at the moment for ExpecT.
Yeah, well, at this point of the game, almost every Terran in TvP, at some point in the game, especially when they've got their +1 attack, want to go across the map and pressure the Protoss. You've seen it time and time again. You saw it in AZ Champs, day after day. The Terrans just want to go for a +1 timing attack with Stim, Combat Shield, and a bunch of tanks. But not only is the push being delayed or even denied completely because of this Phoenix pressure, he's even picked off a tank with the Phoenixes. He's just taken every single advantage that Terran normally has. Normally in this matchup, the Terran is down in workers, but has a big army supply lead, and they have a window where they are stronger than the Protoss as far as army goes, and they capitalize on it. But Nice has just been able to trade, and contain this Terran with Phoenixes, and now he's feeling confident enough to send a bunch of units across. He's bringing in the Gateway units, he's bringing out the Colossi, he's even starting +1 attack for these Phoenixes. This is gonna be a deadly push here. ExpecT has been making a lot of Vikings, though. But with these Phoenixes, man, I don't know, Pilsky. I'm a little bit worried for ExpecT right here with this push. This might be a 2-0.
Yeah, he's going in. He's forced that third command center to the lift. You're seeing the Bio trying to get into position here, but they really have to forfeit this command center at this point. He's trying to pull the boys. He's trying to get in there, right-clicking away at some of those Zealots, but it's a real difficult prospect. Already you're seeing some of the Vikings go down just due to the fact that he's just built a Nexus in the middle of the map. Please explain, Maynard. My brain is breaking.
All right, let me help you. This is, I think...
Your battery?
Yeah, I actually think that it might be for shield battery overcharge, yes. It also might be he hates ExpecT and wants him to feel bad. That's another reason you might be building that Nexus there. It could be a middle... Honestly, it could be a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
I like both of those columns. Both of those are very appealing to me. Either way, though, I don't think there's going to be many columns left as he's moving in towards the natural here, trying to pull the poise, trying to get the most out of these bio units. He's actually dealt with a lot of those Zealots early on, but the force field's cutting the army in half. Surely this is it.
I mean, there are a few Marauders trying to get past those force fields, but you just meant, like, that has just absolutely stopped ExpecT from getting anything done in this game, and Nice didn't even